Hello! Greetings. Alright, just adjusting my inline volume so I can hear myself think, or at least myself talk. Gives me an idea of like what volume my voice is at. Alrighty, so yeah, I finished the dragon yesterday. There's a couple little spots that I would go ahead and correct, and I'll go ahead and do those corrections in Photoshop as I scan and photograph this, just to polish it up just a touch for the for making a print. I probably will break out my kneadable eraser. That's what I forgot today. Luckily, that's like right next to my desk, so it's not terrible to go dig that out. But yeah, just brain not thinking. Yeah, so when I did the thumbnail photo from yesterday after inking, I put my brush here, and apparently my brush was just damp enough. So I'll have a random spot to go ahead and remove, and then there's a little random splatter right there, little dot. That's alright. That is fine by me. That is super easy for me to go ahead and fix in Photoshop. Honestly, if that spot really annoyed me, like right now, I could probably grab my, I have a really short knife in my Swiss card set, and I could probably just scrape that. But I'm going to leave it alone, because I don't need to mar up the paper, because that spot's not even going to matter. But yeah, I grabbed my, my Create a Color black and white set, just so I can go ahead and use that kneadable eraser, because that is the only one that I know where it is at right this second. The other ones have a couple different spots where they could be, so I'm not gonna dig for it if I don't need to. There's the animation. Alright, so I think that is about as much of a tour of the dragon as we're going to see. I'll worry about the couple little spots where I do have pencil lines showing later. They'll just be in finishing work when I go to scan it and then polish it up. So today we're working on a phoenix, and I did not update my my stream title for Twitch, so please pay no attention to well, I probably will be polishing up line work on the phoenix, but ultimately we are working on the phoenix. We're not inking a dragon today, so there's that. See, I have random stuff by my desk because I needed to do some file transfers last night, so things are a little bit scattered. Oh, I don't have my So when I did the thumbnail last night, I removed the I guess I would call it an easel, or it's more specifically it's the stand for the tablet input. So now I'm flat. I found that just easier for photographing the thumbnail wise, and that is how I finished the dragon up. But I'm not sure how I feel about that for now, doing the rest of the line work on camera. Because making sure that I have like a good angle for you guys to see what I'm doing is a little bit different than when I'm just doing stuff with you know, without you guys. So I don't know. Let me start off with just working on removing a lot of this pencil line. We want to knock this down. I may go ultimately a little bit lighter in regards to the inks that I'm using, because the inks that I have are pretty transparent. So I'm not familiar enough with what goes into fountain pen ink. So when I was thinking about inking this, I was more so strongly thinking of the acrylic inks that I have, especially since I had just done the dragon with the acrylic inks. And hopefully you can hear me over the music. This is I'm not sure which level the software I'm in is actually showing me, if it's that loud to you guys. But sometimes it seems to rise just a little bit for... That might be bad for conversation. Alright. So in the meantime... oh yeah, so back to inks. Losing my train of thought here with the music. So yeah, I don't want to mix any of the fountain pen inks with the acrylic inks just because I don't... This is not the piece to experiment with because I'm doing finishing stuff. I might experiment with like technique, but not so much materials when it comes to something that I'm finishing. So I will probably experiment and see what happens if we mix them, but of course that would be like short-term results if you only tune into that video and not see like a follow-up, like if I post something about it like a couple years from now, like, oh yeah, that was a bad idea, it turns out. It's kind of hard to do some of those, so like I am all for doing creative random things. I already have a project in mind for once this is done. We'll jump back over Photoshop and we'll also do some live stuff too, like this. But I have some finish work to do on a print that needs some attention and some slightly experimental stuff with the ceiling watercolor. It's not something I've done before, but I have read about other artists who have done it, and I trust their judgment. I might even find the article and link it when I get to doing that. I love some of these feather shapes. That slightly pointed shape on the end turned out really lovely. I know it's not how all feathers are, but I definitely wanted a little bit of a stylized approach for this phoenix. And even dimming down a little bit of the embers. I have not come back in and drew the embers. It is something I was intending to do. I just didn't get to at the time I had available today. I forget which shot it is, but one of the shots that my son has is one of the ones that doesn't really hit you when you first get it. It hits you a little later. And he needs extra love. He wants to do all the cuddles today, and it's hard to not give cuddles to the little guy. He's very cute. And speaking of kids, Tesla wanted me to do a shout out to her specifically. Right. So most of the, ooh, hold on a second. I forgot I left the radio on. Alright, so hopefully that has not been picked up by my mic before now. Because that operating system update that I had to do in the middle of a stream, which sucky timing by the way, but the point being I had a YouTube tab open, so when my browser was refreshed it started playing the music right away, and I forget which video it was, but there is a point where I very distinctly have this song going for about 2 minutes before I realized it. So YouTube was like, hey, you have copyrighted content in your video. And I'm like, oops. And rather than just have that sitting there as something that, you know, it was just going to always be sitting there with like that little notice. And it's not like I'm monetized, but I do want to have that option open to me eventually. So I figured I might as well just nip that one now. So their beta option, which is to go ahead and just remove the song audio, was really bad in this particular instance. It did not disguise that song enough to my ear. And I figured it would just attempt to do that and then it would be like, yeah, no, it's still a problem. So rather than have it processed twice, I just told it to mute the audio for that 2-minute period, which is not a significant loss for that particular video, except that at the time I was kind of quiet anyway. So you can still see the action that was happening on camera, and I didn't feel like it actually impacted that particular video, like I said, with the flow of it, so that's not too bad. This is still very new to me. This is... let's see, I'm just over a month into this. You know, not everything is ideal. Like I said, this light badly needs a warranty replacement because I can only use it in the warm lighting mode. It's not my preferred option. So when I get that replaced, I will be very, very happy. I still have to dig for the warranty information. If I recall correctly, it's a 1-year warranty, so like that hasn't been quite so much pressure on me that I need to dig into it right this second. But it does bother me, so I do want to do it. It's like, if I can remember in between other stuff. Reminds me I need to get a couple more packages off to the post office. That had been a really weird long time block for me. Like for the past... oh geez, probably 3 years. Oh, there goes our music. Let's see what's going on. Alright, I'm just going to skip to a different track, and we'll see if that will just play for me. Or will it? Or should I go with my new option? So, I don't know if you guys are into Humble Bundle, but they occasionally have some bundles that I've really, really loved. I got a software one for some photography and animation type assets, like brushes and things like that, papers. So that is cool. I do have to play with that more. But the other thing I got a whole huge pack of royalty-free music for like games, streaming, whatever I want it to be. And at this point I just need to listen to a chunk of it to put together a playlist. And once that's done, I don't need to worry about music anymore, and I won't be sitting here fiddling with playlists in the middle of a stream. Unless I just pop the whole album onto my media player and, you know, figure out which tracks I like live, which is probably pretty likely. Which I'll apologize in advance if that's distracting, because it may be distracting. I try not to do stuff like that. This is actually not quite as toned down as I normally do. I feel like there's a lot more areas where I got a nice sharp point and it has like basically engraved the paper surface a little more than I normally like. I don't know why I was going so forceful with this Phoenix. But anyways, so yeah, in light of that, I'll probably just keep moving forward with it as is. It does look fairly light on camera, so it might be just you guys getting that that light. But I'm going to stay pretty close to my line work anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem. It's really just if I go with a lighter ink than I want. I'm thinking like an orangey red tone. So I have out the Perylene Maroon and transparent raw Sienna, so that should give me a nice earthy orange. If that is not as bright as I want it, because I do want it slightly to a brighter side to match with our dragon, so muted but still vibrant, if that makes sense. If that goes badly, and I do have a alternate option, I can go in with the transparent burnt sienna, which is a nice earthy orange. It's similar to the shade of quinacridone burnt orange, because it is transparent. They could probably have just bottled that, but this one is one of their single pigment ones. It's a PR 101. So the music service decided to work, so we're going with that. Just gonna hop over to Twitch in just a second here. I think I'm going to leave the embers alone for today. Like, I know they're there, I know I'm just doing line work, so I don't want to define them because I still haven't mentally processed that far on this piece myself. So I'm gonna put this eraser away. I am kind of at the that last second adjustment moment for the crest. So before I completely put away my eraser, I'm going to I feel like I did want to do flames for this crest. I want to do them kind of small, kind of like I want to go having the flames upward, or maybe there was so much motion that they're going just all back. I'm really lightly sketching, just so I can kind of see an idea how fiery we're going. I kind of like that. Bring that up a little closer. I went real light with it, but I think I like it. I feel like this one should come up a little bit higher though, not just be angled back. So somewhere between like movement, or maybe just redrawing a little bit. So I like this one. I am going to angle these all back just to go with the flow of the body. I think that works. Alright, so my wrapper for the eraser split, so I could just use this little spot that's exposed. Don't even have to take that out. Here, just stick onto the paper. But that'll work. Alright. And then I have not secured this down. So honestly, I'm a little bit on the fence about that because last time it was so annoying having those curves on the dragon, and this phoenix is like almost all curves. So I don't think I'm going to secure this down. Just go ahead and kind of rotate. Hi, Priscilla. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a new follower. Yay! I'll hit 10. I'll hit double digits someday. So I appreciate it. Alright, so craziness. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and speak to you directly, Priscilla, since you're here. Yeah, apologies for the title. I forgot to change it for the stream. I'm not working on inking a dragon today. I'm working on inking the phoenix today. So thanks so much for hopping on, and just want to let you know since you might have missed that bit. I'll show you the dragon though, since I don't think I had the dragon on screen at that point, but yeah, this is what we were up to yesterday. Move that in frame. There you go. I'm going to do just a couple minor tweaks in Photoshop to adjust some of these curves that I lost control on a little bit, like this one on the tail, that little kink. I'm gonna soften that up. A couple spots where the ink got a little bit dark on me when I overlapped, because these were curves that I just did not feel comfortable doing all in one go with the dip pen, which is what we're using today. So I'm going to be pulling out a dip pen in just a moment and mixing up a nice orange, and this will be a print for my friend's platform. So that'll be going on very shortly here. Yeah, so I have this cleaned up well enough. I'm leaving the embers alone because I do want to put some form there. I just hadn't gotten to that part yet. My brain didn't think that far ahead yet. So I like to keep some things planned and a little bit spontaneous, just because that tends to keep my brain happy. I do tend to overthink a lot of things, and sometimes that spontaneous moment is really nice because it keeps the work fresh and interesting for me. I do have my transparent raw umber and transparent burnt sienna out. I don't think I'm going to use them, but just in case I need to tone the color a little bit more, I definitely want an orange that's like towards the red side of the orange spectrum, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, good. This is not my one dropper that is screwy. I'm going to start with a drop of the Perylene Maroon, and then we'll try 2 drops of the transparent raw sienna, see where that gets me. I shook these ahead of time. They have a lot of air bubbles, which would be really obnoxious if you're going in with a brush, but I can just wait a second before I put the drops into my little mixing tray. And I have the cheapest of the cheap mixing trays. I have, I forget how many were in the, wow, now I'm blanking. I'm forgetting how many were in the set at the dollar store, but, yeah, these were 4 or 5 of them, maybe even 6 of them, but, you know, for $1. So it's really handy for mixing ink. I am going to do a drop of water for right now, so I just have a really saturated brush to add my drop of water, and then I'm also going to mix. So we'll see whether this color gets us. I'm feeling that's pretty much on the red side still. I'll go ahead and do a little test down here. Basically, I'm looking for the reason for watering it down. I want to make sure that when I do the line work, because that is so thin, it makes the color seem really saturated, and I want to make sure that it has a color tone to it when you see it. It's a pretty color, but it is not quite as orange as I was thinking. I think I need a little more yellow. Yellows a lot of times don't have as much tinting strength, so generally you're going to have to add more yellow to a mix anyway to go ahead and actually start to bend it to where you want it. So, I mean, it's a pretty color, but not quite as orange. I want to make sure it is fiery, but reasonable. So yeah, you've come onto my channel at an interesting time because I was doing the MerMay challenge and I wasn't getting to the rest of my work backlog. So I'm like, you know, I love this challenge. I love these prompts. I found 3 different prompt lists I was doing all concurrently. Like each image would be a combination of these 3 different prompts. I don't know if I like that. I'm gonna rinse my brush for real quick and show you. It is a nice earthy orange, and I think it's a little bit brighter than the burnt sienna would be if I were just using that out of the bottle. I do have my heat gun. I need to see. Okay, good, I'm not muted. I thought I muted myself. I frequently mute myself because I do have kiddos in the room. This is generally where they game during the day. And I like to keep the smallest one close to me because he's like 15 months. I'm not exactly sure where that is going to dry down to. There's a lot of times if you're mixing colors, it's really helpful to see how they dry because a lot of things lose a bit of saturation as they dry. But for sake of the stream, I'm not going to sit here and just wait for that to dry. I also don't really want to like have the heat gun out, so I think I'm just going to move on. And then if it's a color that I don't love, I will digitally correct it in Photoshop. I can go ahead and do things like adjust the saturation and whatnot. I also want the color to have like a dark enough value, which will make it easy to convert to black lines, because I want to do a version of this that will be oh great, train of thought. I want to do a version of this that'll be leafed. So well, not leafed, foiled. Do a foil print. I'll get there eventually. I actually do a little bit of gold leaf on occasion. At some point I'll be breaking out the leaf because I got a new leaf size. I'm really anxious to get playing with that. And is my playlist over? Yeah, this is my short one. Alright. Continuing on. The music's been really random. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so not this song, but the song that sounds similar to it is listed as Phoenix Rising. How perfect is that? So I've gone ahead and blotted my brush because I did rinse it out. So I can go ahead and load it up with ink. This will be the one time I show you how I load my nib, because I'm doing it over the work, and I'd rather not splatter and have to clean it up later, so just lay it on. And I also go ahead and stand up the pen right over where I have the little ink well at, or, you know, the little mixing tray, just in case that drop decides it wants to go rolling right off. It is a pretty color. I'm thinking like it reminds me of blood oranges. I love blood oranges. They're tasty. Alright, so with this particular piece, this is strictly line work. I am not doing any shading. You know, basically any time where it's like a little bit of line to convey form, like this little musculature and you know, skeletal structure where they kind of meet at the edges of the wings, and that's it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the eyes. I'm going to start on the face, so I figure that is the most interesting to watch. And that way, if I wind up calling it short, at least you've seen one of the most fun parts to bring to life on a character. You know what? I'm going to grab my scrap paper just to get this started. I feel like that first line... Okay, we're good. that first line is a little bit of anxiety, so sometimes I'd rather do that on a scrap piece of paper. This is a little bit more transparent than what I was hoping for. That's okay. I'm gonna turn this just a touch because I'm losing the edge. I need to come over here, just see what my camera is doing, make sure I'm within frame. I really tried to keep the work still. Like, I actually used my clip in yesterday's stream, and that was really tough for me because I tend to rotate as I need to in order to get the line shape and effect that I want. I'm just going to jump back over to the playlist. This particular service that I'm using for music, when you go ahead and search for a playlist, it just plays through that, but when you tell it to like play similar music to a specific song on the list, it doesn't just automatically jump to that and like carry on. It's like, well, no, that's what I want you to do today. Alright, so quick reload on the nib. I'm wondering if my nib is a little bit slow because I was bad yesterday. I let a little bit of paint dry onto it. What was that? I heard a weird click sound. I don't know what that was. Now I'm not so sure if I want to fill in these little head frills. I think I'm going to, though. Yeah, that looks good. I like it. I'm going to extend this point just a touch, though. There we go. Oh, you know what? I think it was the music. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with the prompts for MerMay, but it was taking away time that I needed for getting some really good projects that are close to my heart done. Like this. This is for a dear friend online. She has a platform. Ooh, that shape went wrong. Okay, well, that's my fault. I'm probably going to change that in Photoshop because I derped that line just a touch. I feel like my bead is stopping right there, and that's why I keep stopping to reload the brush a little early right now, because I don't want this is an acrylic based ink. I don't want it drying on the nib and affecting flow. So I keep doing little things like trying to just tap it into the little puddle that I have with the color mixed. And just stuff to, in general, you know, try to keep it wet. I'll probably go ahead and stop and like do a full clean after I get so far, just because I don't want too much of that acrylic drying. This is a little weird compared to yesterday's layout, because yesterday what I did was I had this whole surface angled, and then I had my ink sitting elsewhere. It's really weird pulling the lines away from me where I can't see where the line is, so I'm going to do dumb stuff like this edge should be a little straighter. Oh well. I can either change it later, or I might surprise myself and do something fun. So there's that. Alright, and at any point you're welcome to go ahead and just hop into the chat if you do have any questions about technique or materials. I do update the information in the stream after a live stream, so I do generally post things like links to references, descriptions of the materials I'm using. Stuff like that. But if you have questions ahead of time, like, why'd you mix this instead of doing that? Sure, shoot me a question. It's fun to talk about process. I'm going to see how this angle does for me. I try to keep a paper towel nearby in case I need to blot. Now, my current question is with the dragon. I did the rocks using the, I think it was the raw umber. Yeah, it's the raw umber. I'm not sure. Oop, let me make sure I'm in frame. Okay, I need to move over just a smidge this way. You can see the ink and the palette moving on this edge here, just slightly in the corner. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to do any of the other elements in a different color. One of the things I was thinking about was to just go ahead and do those adjustments in Photoshop if I wanted to. So the simpler I keep this, the easier some of that is in Photoshop. I'm going to slightly correct that line. So right now I'm leaving the flames alone. Well, I haven't left the flames alone. I did those ones. I guess I'm just going to do all the flames then. So it'll be the embers that I'll debate on that with. Oy. My brain is silly sometimes. Alright, and a quick reload. Like I said, just because this is acrylic and not, if it were shellac-based ink, I would worry the same too. But, more like a fountain pen ink, I would be slightly less worried because they don't seem to have that same type of, like, hard, shiny drying style. I used to have a set of the Winsor & Newton inks ages ago. That was when I was still in high school and just really getting a feel for a different, like, art media. I didn't have nearly as much patience as I wish I did. Like, I wish I did back then. Because I probably would have played more with some of the media that I've gotten into now. Like, I had no patience for charcoal. I did not want to have my hands all dirty and smudging things. And that's kind of like a twofold thing for me. So, like, partly was just patience, partly is a sensory thing. I'm pretty specific about textures and things on my hands. Also, being left-handed, I smudge nearly everything. So that is another big thing for me. To a point that when I'm doing calligraphy with a pointed pen, I'll actually do it right-handed. I force myself to be right-handed for those moments. Which is awkward. Because you know how when you're writing, your hand automatically moves ahead just a little bit to anticipate the like spacing for the next words? I don't do that right-handed, so I have to stop every so often, like move like a weird inchworm. So I'll be like writing like this at first, and it gets spaced out and spaced out and spaced out, except for it's right-handed, until I get to a point where I can't reach comfortably to do the shapes, and then I have to, and then do the whole process again. But it's weird. I just live with, you know, some things I do are just going to be strange. I am pleasantly surprised by this color. I'm liking it a lot more. You know, when I was younger, I always like the more like the blue leaning, or I should say violet leaning reds, like crimson. I didn't really have a appreciation for like scarlet and blood orange and the orangey based ones until I got much older, which I shouldn't say much older. I'm not that much older. Sometimes it feels like it. I'll be hitting 40 next year. And it's taken me that long to really take art seriously. I did a lot when I was a kid, just doodling in notebooks. And now here I am, finally taking more time to do stuff that I like. Like I took the long road to get here. But I can appreciate a lot more than I used to. Take so much stuff for granted when you're a kid. I am really liking this color because I like how dark it got here, how much lighter it is here. It's almost like a some of those like, what do they call it? Now I'm blanking. I haven't been watching some of the channels that I love to watch in a bit. One of those, as I'm now making more content. Like, well, I'm making content in general. I only started streaming like 2 months. Beginning of April. Not even 2 months, but yeah, now that I'm spending my time doing this, making art, which love it. I am definitely watching a few less videos than I normally would, and I guess that's where my time went. I'm gonna work on this other wing before I get back to the body, because I keep my hand out of the way. I actually, I'm currently in school for game art and development, and very intentionally, when I had an illustration class, I created a diagonal composition. Because I knew with my hands and my dislike of smudging things as I'm working on them, that would be easy for me to avoid doing that with. I'm trying to stay pretty true to the line work I did originally, because I found that it, at least with a light attempt at erasing, it feels like my line work is still pretty strong. So I am a little bit concerned I'm not going to be able to clean that up, and that just means more time playing with the digital file. And while I can do Photoshop, I don't like spending all my time editing. So I am trying to be just a little bit mindful of that for this process. I am probably letting this nib drag a little more than I'd like. I prefer when they don't really scratch the surface of the paper, and I feel like sometimes my choice of pen pressure is a little wonky. Sometimes I could just get the nib to dance along the surface, where it just very lightly goes over. But on these longer lines, I definitely dig in. Alright, so just a reminder that questions and comments are always welcome. And I generally try to hop over to Twitch a couple of times too during the stream, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. I think what I might actually do today. Oh no, never mind. Nope, today is a entertainment day. Like Tuesdays and Thursdays kind of alternate, where one day I get a little bit more time to draw, one day I gotta relax a little bit more. And this just happens to be the day I gotta relax a little bit more. One of the things I really love about this type of work is just very rhythmic and relaxing doing line work. The same thing for lettering for me. Just the forms are calming. I'm gonna bring that line up just a touch. And hopefully the moving around the image isn't too distracting. Nice. I may come in and give some of these a dual tone to make them a little bit darker, like whatever color I choose for the embers. I might go with the muted gray because they have a very, very cool color contrast compared to the fieriness of the Phoenix. Kind of like that thought. Actually, I'm going to just grab the sketch over here because I did a few areas that were a little bit more random as far as some of the, I don't know what you'd call them, but like when the fire crackles and pops, you sometimes have these little lines, and this is such a great color for those. I can't tell if that's supposed to be a spot. No, eraser bit. This one too. I want to have a few of them, but I also want to make sure that there's plenty of room to breathe around the picture. These are going to be cut down a bit. I think ultimately the scans will be doing like 5x7 prints. This paper is, for the sketch, a little bit larger than a 5x7, so I'll actually have to digitally make this one smaller, which isn't a problem. When you're doing prints, working bigger and then shrinking down is always so much easier. It's when you want to size up from a small image, that's where you get your problems. The shape of fire. Alright, I think I want to have this one with a touch more direction to it. So that one I'm just gonna have to see what I can do with it. I don't know. Why do I... Oh, you know what? I should have used my brush earlier. Yeah, that's okay. I'll live. Some of these, it's like, what are you? Oh, you're a little hair on the surface. Oh well, now you are a little ember up in the air. Just a little bit that pops. Alright, I'm going to do a quick wash for my nib. I'm just putting the tip of it down into my water, probably about to this point. I have a nice gnarly piece of paper towel that I've overused for ages. Weird. I'll reuse paper towel bits until they're just of no use. And normally end of life, like they start out for watercolors and then like towards end of life it's like I use them for the acrylics. You can go ahead and clean stuff up. But it's handy, it works for me. Just silliness. Alright, so I'll be reloading the brush in just a second here. Not reloading the brush, reloading the nib. Still blanking on that term that was in my head earlier. It's something about the quality of the ink, that you get like a multiple tone out of it depending on if it's like in mass tone or a wash. I'll remember it as soon as I'm done the stream. Just be like, bloop, there it is. Oh, that is a much more graceful line than I had. I don't know if you can see the pencil, but it went out slightly there, and that was a much better line, so I like that. Like I'm grading my lines like I have homework or something. Alright, back. Ooh, I don't know which way. I need this to dry a little bit, so I can't go on top of it that way. I'll go around this way. Sorry. I try to think about how I'm working so I'm less likely to smudge stuff that I care about. If this were something I were laying washes on, I wouldn't be resting my hands or my fingers on the tip of the paper. That line got away from me a little bit, but I do like the line variation. That's why I keep using this nib. So I can do bold and fine lines. I wanted this to be a little bit expressive. I probably only have maybe one or two more of these tail feather lines to get done, where this will definitely show signs of running out of ink. Oh, I didn't connect that one. I don't know if I'm going to connect that one. I remember when I was doing the line work, I was considering should I connect them. But I also wanted to leave like plenty of room for movement. No, that line went a little off. That's alright. Alright, so I try to pop over to... Well, I've already told you I try to pop over to Twitch every so often, but... See, Twitch runs slightly delayed, So whatever I see on the screen is like, I already did that. So I tend to jump back to my software pretty frequently, just so I can see like what's going on camera right now when I look over. And that's really important to me because that lets me know if like my autofocus had issues. Because if stuff is just staying blurry, that's freaking boring. I don't want that type of boring. Like sometimes I literally have to watch paint dry. Oop. That one lost a little bit of its angle. I'm going to try to make up part of that curve when I do this one. Here we go. It's not quite the same curve, but I want to add a little expression back to that. Try to soften this edge just a touch. I lost that line a little. I'm gonna continue it over here anyway, where I did the original line work. I like that continuing up the body. I can adjust that later. I'm just gonna put my mic down. I use a corded headset and mic attachment. And yeah, occasionally I lean too close to my rolling cart. It's got a little handle on it, and it'll get stuck there, and actually it has unplugged on me once during the stream. And you'd think I would just remember, like, just use the clip. You can clip it to your shirt. It's not gonna go anywhere. And I still haven't done that. I'm gonna just double... Yeah, I had more brightness in here. I forgot I turned this down last night. Alright. Hey, look at that, we have more light. It is a bit overcast today, so any light coming over my shoulder is pretty much non-existent, which is why over here tends to be a bit cooler, because I tend to keep this... Ooh, wait a minute, in camera. I tend to keep this light over here, my ring light, that one I keep in cool mode, even though I can do a mixture, which is supposed to, I think, mimic daylight, or I could do warm. This one can do either warm or cold, but the cold does not work right now. Right now, it is just... It stays quite dim, and I don't want to just keep messing with it, because every once in a while it'll go ahead and work. But I got really tired of futzing with it, because for my stream, I want to be painting, or drawing, or inking. I want to be doing the things. I don't want to be messing with the light the whole time. So every once in a while, I mention it just so you guys know that, like, yes, image quality is important to me. I will get this light replaced. I'm trying to get a hold of the warranty information from Amazon, because I bought this through Amazon. The seller does not have their own standalone website, which probably should have been a flag for me. I might not get any warranty help, but the rest of the rig, other than the light, has been fantastic. So I can, now I have my camera mounted here without any issues with it. I'm good. And it has a light, and it has an arm for my laptop. So now my laptop's off my desk, and which means I have more space on this side. It is so nice, because I have a little desk. It is little, but it is hardy. And as long as I got some space to do what I need to, I am happy. I actually like how that curved better than I originally drew it, so I'm happy. We'll see. You know, I might leave that. I might go a little off script there. Just checking to see how much ink I have left. Let's see if I'll be able to finish this. Ooh, we're at 3 o'clock. I was just thinking I might have a problem. I might have to make another batch of ink. I think I'm just gonna leave that there. And I can't run over very long with the stream today because I still have a list of stuff to do. I'll run around and dash before my bit to relax. Like forced relaxation. That sounds bad, but it's not bad. It's not that. What would I just say? I occasionally donate plasma. There. So some days I'm doing the hand that I write with. Like today would be. So it means I'm not going to get any drawing done. I like how with metal nibs you can just kind of nudge a line along sometimes. I may come back in and redo some of that. I am kind of running out of ink though. I am glad I mixed up as much as I did. Ooh. For continuity's sake, I'm going to do this section. Even though I remember it was like 3 drops of the raw sienna? Yeah, raw sienna. 3 drops of raw sienna and 1 of Perylene Maroon and a drop of water. It might not mix the same. Like, knowing my luck. So while I do have a formula in mind, I'd rather not count on that for these areas being the same. I feel like one more little spark over here. Just feeling a little naked. Alright. So I'm going to leave these flames at the bottom alone, probably. Now I kind of want to get this one in if I can. I feel like I should reload. It's a terrible little dot there, but I'll try to start up there. Just getting a little bit more difficult to pull the ink off the that brush. I'm gonna try to flip this. This thing in the way is terrible for me, but I should have moved the whole palette around. Alright, I feel like this would be nice. We'll see. Bring these little edges together. ever so slightly. Great, and yeah, I think I want to bring this line up. Try not to make the body seem too busy. That's why I'm kind of iffy about some of these lines coming all the way up, but I feel like this one probably needs to come all the way up. I probably want to start that from down here and bring it up. Right. And I feel like this one should come up just a touch, if only to soften that dark spot. Right, so other than this, which I'm going to correct in Photoshop, I gotta figure if I want this to be open. Because let me tell you, I've had some files where I've had digital pieces and I've tried to go ahead and just block in some color digitally, and then the spot was open. And that personally drives me up a wall. I wonder if maybe I should just continue this line. No, I don't think that line, it wouldn't meet until up here. I don't think I mind that. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Probably be the last line of work on, and then we'll just, I'll figure out what we're gonna do tomorrow. Try to end you off on a vague expectation if I have an idea. I don't love that line. Thicken it up slightly over here. And fill that in. Shading. It's a shading ink. That's the effect when it varies a lot with the like thinned out versus mass tone. And it might not even be like thinned out like with water, but like spread out over a page. And then some areas pool, like what happens with watercolor sometimes. Yeah, so we have a Phoenix inked. Since I still have these flames and the embers to figure out, I think that is what we're doing tomorrow, just so that this is completely done. And then beyond that, what I'll do is I'll jump back to another project where I need to do some digital work. Because that one needs to be finished with the digital work. Sooner is better for that one. So we'll jump over to that. Then and this double little, this area where the flame has two arms was, sorry, catching me off guard. I think I might just line this one to here. Just kind of let that sweep around. Anyway, getting myself distracted. Yeah, so we'll be working on the rest of the line work for this, finalizing the drawing for the embers underneath, giving that some more form other than just a darker value. And then I'll do the flames, probably the same color. I think that works for this, for what I have in mind for this particular version. And then we'll just do the embers in another color, and I'll touch some of that around a couple places. I think I need to add more up here too. This side is feeling a little bit left alone, which makes sense because when I was doing the sketch, this whole area got cut off because I didn't center my image. I was just, this is a sketch. That's what it was designed for. But I'm not someone who likes to rework sketches too many times. I like to still find new and interesting things for me, so that's why it's like sketch, final. And then I'm still figuring a couple things out in the final, and that keeps the process fresh for me. So it works. Sometimes it's frustrating because I don't have all the pieces in place, but like as a set, I think these guys should look pretty good together, side by side even though them being together probably won't happen realistically for this application. Some cooler tones with our dragon. I kind of wish I'd done maybe a little bit more of an oceany vibe for the dragon, like maybe like some webbed type fin thing going on here. Same I could have done for the hand. Could have been fire and water. But that's alright. I think it's still interesting, and I like the turnout so far. I'm definitely looking forward to finishing the base of the Phoenix image, and then sometime within the next couple of days, I'm going to switch over, I think, from this music provider to getting the to using the music I just purchased last night / this morning. Yeah, technicalities. It's based on when you sleep. But yeah, this has been fun. I'm definitely glad I got some more work done on this Phoenix, because I've been really excited to see how that turned out. So bits of cleanup work, which I'll probably do, just because I don't think a lot of people online show the tedious little bits as far as like cleanup work. And those are important parts, because a lot of people, they see the image. You know, there's so many time lapses out there that you don't see how long an image is taking to go ahead and develop. Not seeing the sketching process, which, well, you guys didn't see the sketching process for this, but I have done the sketching process for other pieces. That's basically what the MerMay series was sketching and inking. So earlier this month, you can see that, and that's before I made a break from the challenge, just so I can get to these pieces that were just weighing on my brain and making the challenge. I'm like unwieldy, unpleasant. A couple of different words come to mind, but it was just a lot of pressure of, you haven't gotten to this, you still need to do this, and I wasn't able to produce things at a pace that I liked off camera. So I felt that, you know what, let me just bring all of my process on camera, and that way I know things are getting done. Hopefully it's interesting to see what I'm working on behind the scenes, or not so behind the scenes now. And I do still have that prompt list. That is a crazy prompt list. You have these 3 different columns of prompts, and I really love how some of them lined up for MerMay, and I'm definitely going to keep playing with that. So, looking forward, and yeah, I really need to cut this for today, so I get on with the other stuff I need to run around and do. But it's been absolutely lovely, and thank you for joining me. And as always, keep drawing, painting, sketching. You know, just make art. Do your thing, because that is important. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.